Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Motor City Man Mouse Show. Am I loud enough? I don't know. I'll ask my partner, Steve Salter. Am I all right, Steve? Loud enough?
Yeah, you're loud enough.
How you feeling?
You're never loud enough, but I
How
can
you
hear
feeling? Oh, that's good. I hope so. My voice will wake up to Dad. That's the word. How you feeling? I know you're going through a few aches and pains, Steve. Talk to our audience here.
Yes, I've been crippled pretty good the last couple of days. So
yeah. Well, I'll say some prayers
to
make you feel better. I'll say some prayers. You got to get you feeling better, SB. We got some big things to do. You have a forward for a book to write when I get around to doing it. So, all right. Well, we got a pretty jam-packed show, that's for sure. So, I'll tell you what we're going to do, Steve. There's going to be some interesting topics tonight. There really will be, but none of them will be as interesting as this one. Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, or give you some information. You planning a trip to Cancun anytime soon?
No, I am not.
Well, good. Because you know what, Steve? Wild crocodiles still live inside Cancun's hotel zone. Wild crocodiles, people. Just across from the turquoise beaches, the Nishupti Lagoon is a protected mangrove ecosystem home to, what do they call it? Birds, fish. Yes, crocodiles up to 4 meters long. Crocodile sea. What do you think about that?
You know, I've spent a lot of time in Mexico, but I never saw a croc down there. But I'm here to tell you, when I was in South Africa, I saw some crocs that were like 16 to 18 feet long.
Really?
And that was some scary stuff. And I can't imagine being in Cancun and swimming in the lagoon and having, what did they say, a 4 meter croc? So that's like 13 and a half feet long.
Yeah, let me go with that. Yeah, crocodiles up to 4 meters long, and that lagoon, I didn't know anything about the Nishupti Lagoon. I've been to Cancun before, but when I went there, I went for the bullfighting is what I ended up going to, and I enjoyed the flea markets where you can negotiate the Mexicans down. But if you think I'm getting near the lagoon and Santa Claus is Jewish, and there ain't no way that's happening, brother.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
So you ever thought you'd open up a show talking about crocodiles?
No, that's a first. So, hey. But we have lots of firsts on this show every week.
Isn't that what makes it fun?
That's what makes it fun. And hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you. The man, Steve Ballesteri, is a trooper in every sense of the word. No matter how hard it is. I know last night we did okay without him on inside to fix it. We missed him. I said, Steve, we need you Wednesday. Get some rest. Work it out. You'll be okay. And that's why, because we talk about crocodiles. We talk about a lot of things.
Crocodiles, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what we're going to talk about, too. Okay. A quote from an Arizona inmate. His name is Ricky Wassenaar. After killing three convicted pedophiles in one day, his goal was 13. He wanted to kill them all. The taxpayers no longer have to pay for them. I'm paying my debt to society. What do you think of that one, Steve?
I don't know how to think of that.
I didn't
on one hand, I have no feeling whatsoever for pedophiles. In fact, a lot of times I would sit here and tell you they get what they deserved.
Yeah.
But I don't know about this guy being the judge, jury, and executioner. But
that's what it is.
How long is this guy in jail? Is he in for life already?
Well, I was getting to that part. I just had to give it. I had to go ahead and read the quote first.
Yeah, I mean that's some pretty wild stuff there. But yeah, again, I have no sympathy for pedophiles whatsoever.
I was kidding.
One part of me wants to cheer this guy, but at the same time, I mean, what's he in jail for? I mean.
Well, here, I'm going to go on and read this a little further because this is just classic, I swear to God. I mean, what this guy says, he's already carrying out 16 life sentences to begin with
Okay.
for the triple homicide at the ASP Tucson complex targeting only child sex offenders. Well, I mean, I get that. So Wassenauer strangled his cellmate before using a makeshift flail and a rock inside a laundry bag to kill two more men in the prison hall. And like I said, he's talking about he feels that they're monsters. This is what they are. So I think they talk more about what he did. I don't about these crimes. They ain't really talking about what he did because
Yep.
what
A
do you think?
rock inside a rock inside a laundry bag. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean, think about this, Steve. I mean, this guy here, if he's serving 16 life sentences, it's got to be real stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah.
guy's just a trip. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hey, listen, we bring these stories, so you ain't going to find them anywhere place here on this insane show, but that's okay. I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be that guy's cellmate.
well, no, obviously the first one find out the hard way. If you're a pedophile, you're in deep trouble.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, no. So we're starting out with crocodiles, and then we take the aisles, and we're talking about pedophiles. Oh my God.
Crocodiles, pedophiles,
Yes,
lions and tigers and bears.
Well, no, I don't think we're gonna get to lions, tigers, and bears, but actually we will be get to some kings. And you know why we're gonna get to some kings, Steve? Because the Louisville Kings inaugural game attendance was 14,034 home sweet home. The UFL, the United Football League, is actually diving into untapped markets. What do you thought about the Louisville Kings selling out 14,034 people, the only game in town?
Hey, I love it. And, I like the UFL. I know a lot of my NFL friends dislike it, and they kind of denigrate the level of play. And, yeah, okay. Is it to the level of the NFL? Of course it isn't. But I've watched several of the games. I've enjoyed them. I like the different rules that they have, especially once they're over the 50-yard line. They're no punts allowed, and it just makes for an interesting game. But look, I believe that the NFL needs a developmental league. That's why I was firmly on board with NFL Europe years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, and good for Louisville. They don't have. I mean, they don't have an NFL team. They don't have NBA team. They don't have Major League Baseball team. Good for them that they drawing well in their inaugural game. And look, if they keep improving the product on the field, more people are going to come.
Well, you just said a mouthful there, Steve. If they improve the product on the field, they will. Before, many years ago, they had the Kentucky Colonels of the ABA, but that was not absorbed by the merger, but they should have, because we all know that Kentucky's a huge basketball state between the Louisville Cardinals and the Kentucky Wildcats. But now you have a football team, and it'll be all right. I mean,
I'm surprised Kentucky, because as you just said, it's such a basketball place, right? That they don't have an NBA team.
Yeah, that is a little mind-boggling for me, because that NBA team was based in Louisville, just so you know. And I believe Hubie Brown actually coached on it, if my memory serves me correctly. But you have the Kentucky Colonels, you have the American Basketball Association, aka obviously the ABA, and that to me is just surreal that they had it. But I was just surprised that they did not get involved with the merger. That was really what blew me away. And to me, that's what else can you say?
I know, and it's surprising. I mean, because as you said, Kentucky's big. That's a big basketball area, like Indiana is. And the fact that they don't have an NBA team is kind of a little surprising to me. But look, hats off to the Louisville Kings and the UFL. I mean. I watched the game over the weekend, and I really enjoy it. I mean, and every year, a couple of these guys you see in the UFL, they get shots in the NFL, and some of them stick.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there.
And I enjoy it. I like the fact that, they have spring football. It doesn't compete with the NFL, doesn't compete with college football, you know, um, and there's plenty of room for it, I think. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I'm
when they
happy.
moved to Louisville, I had a feeling that again, that league has gone through a lot of changes. They're trying to go ahead down to smaller stadiums to try to get more people in there. And the UFL is always going to be criticized for different ways of doing things with the stadiums. But the reality is, at some point or another, I still think you have to get more major markets. But again, right now they have a stadium issue that league cannot afford to go out there and go with bigger stadiums right now and half empty stadiums. And I think that, to me, the one big thing that league unfortunately is lacking. And
Right. And I agree with you 100% there. I mean, you don't want to put 15,000 people in a 65,000 seat stadium, because then it looks three-quarters empty, right? But if you put them in a 20,000 seat stadium, then the place looks, pretty full. And
well, yeah, I mean,
and
yeah,
plus the cost of working in a much smaller stadium is more affordable for these teams where money is an issue and probably will continue to be for quite some time.
yeah, no, and you're right. That definitely seems to be the telltale story of actually how a lot of that stuff works. Is you don't want to really go out there and have to deal with a lot of that sort of thing. You really don't. So I'll tell you what. You want to do a little bit of traveling tonight, Steve? Because we're going to Japan. You ready for
Let's
that?
go to Japan.
Yeah, let's go to Japan. We're going to be talking about Japan. You ready? So we're going to talk about what they do for etiquette. No talking in elevator rides. Elevators are quiet zones. Even friends often stop chatting once the doors close. It's not chatting inside an elevator. They're quiet zones.
The Japanese are very polite people. And I like that. I mean, especially in Japan, that those elevators are jam packed with people, just like their trains are. They pack them in like sardines. And I like the fact that everyone shuts up for 20 seconds while you're in the elevator ride, right? I mean, you can hold your conversation for a few seconds until you get off. I like it. I think that's a great idea.
If I shut up for 20 seconds, everybody just thinks something's wrong. So I don't think that really
Yeah.
works.
I mean, how long are you actually in an elevator for?
I don't know. Depends
Not
on how
very
old.
long.
It depends on how old the elevator is too.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if you're going up 100 stories, maybe that's a different thing. But generally, you're in an elevator 15, 20 seconds. So
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. You know that.
no, I like that idea. Good
Well,
for
good.
the Japanese.
We'll see if you like this one because they definitely believe in etiquette. No shoes indoors in homes, traditional inns, temples, and even some restaurants. Shoes must come off at the entrance. What do you think of that?
Yeah, as long as see that wouldn't work in the States
No.
because you'd come back and everyone's shoes would be missing, right?
That's true. That is good. I like that. Yeah,
That one, I mean that one. I mean, I think that's a great idea for Japan, but that would never fly in the States because you'd come back and especially people who tend to spend high dollar footwear and Vince Ferragamo shoes or whatever they call those things or whatever. They'd all be missing. We know that in the United States.
Well, I can't live without my Skechers. I'm telling you right now. I gotta have my Skechers, and nowadays those are definitely definitely a hot ticket. Okay, no crossing the street outside of crosswalk. Jaywalking is rare and heavily discouraged. People wait patiently even when the street is empty. Jaywalking.
Yeah, no jaywalking. I've heard of that in Japan, and they frown on that. And again, I mean, safer for pedestrians, and it just goes to the level of politeness for the system. Everyone waits their turn. They all cross the street together. Might be a little crowded, but you don't have people running across the street getting run over by taxis or whatever. So I like it.
No, here's one I don't really like. No loud or public displays of affection. I understand the loud part, but public displays of affection. Seriously, kissing, hugging, they don't want.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, or speaking loudly in public spaces. That means I would go ahead and be banned from Japan.
That would never fly in New York City.
It's frowned upon and seen as disruptive. So kissing and hugging.
Well, it wouldn't fly in Boston either. I mean,
oh really? They don't like it.
No, people. They yell to their friends down the block.
Do they really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, you remember the old commercial, Prince Spaghetti Day, Anthony?
No, I don't remember.
You never heard that? You never saw that?
No, I never have.
And the funny thing about that was, it's supposed to be in the north end of Boston. It was a commercial. And the mother's hanging out the window calling Anthony to come because Wednesday's Spaghetti Day, right? And she's yelling out the window in the north end. And Anthony's in Haymarket Square, which is like 6 miles away. I was like, she must have a really loud voice because, he can hear her all the way there. But
okay. Well, no trash bins around, but also no litter. Despite the lack of public bins, Japan is incredibly clean. People carry their trash home with them.
Yeah, that would never fly.
I would be caught dead doing that. I don't even take mine to the front of the house, let alone what they're asking me to do.
Yeah. No, but that's another thing I've heard is Japan is extremely clean. The streets and everything.
That is funny. I really lost in that one. Okay, no eating while walking. Well, I don't do that. Eating on the go is considered messy and disrespectful. You're expected to stop and eat quietly in one spot. I guess I'm okay with that one. What about you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's why you have kitchens. Okay, that's why you have restaurants. No talking on the phone in public transport. It's a big no to speak on your phone in trains and buses. Silence is golden in Japanese transit. Well, you know what? All I do is text, so I'm not going to give anybody a hard time.
Yeah, texting is fine.
Yeah, they didn't mention texting, but talking, people talk, right?
But we're all guilty of that, talking on the phone.
The amazing part about it is when I'm in my car, I actually don't use the cell phone when it comes to talking. I wait and stop over in a public parking lot to do my talking. Is what I do. I figure when you're behind the wheel, you have a responsibility to society is what you really have. And that responsibility to society is focus on the road and don't get nobody hurt. Even with me with having Alzheimer's disease, I don't go ahead and drive unless I really have to. That's not the right thing to do. So I get that, but I totally understand. No tipping allowed. Tipping isn't customary in Japan. To me, maybe it's not such a bad place after all. Okay, exceptional service is already included. No extra cash needed. Now I really like that law.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the people that are the wait staff and the service oriented people get their money, then I don't have a problem with that because it cuts the cheapskates out. Because most people tip, and most people are good about it. They try to take care of their service, people. But there's some people that refuse to tip, and that drives me up the wall, But if the price is included in that, then I can get on board with that.
Yeah, me too. Of course, some of these restaurants are trying to double dip where they actually include the tip thing in there to begin with, and then automatically have the blank spot, and everybody else is taking it for granted. So, when it comes to tipping, that just to me is a little bit of a slippery
I like, especially if I go to a really nice steakhouse or whatever, and we have a really good server, be it male, female, whatever. And they really try to take care of them. That's the only thing. Now, if they all have to share that, you might have servers that are really lacking and slackers, but they're going to share in the same amount of money. That would be the only thing.
I'm with you. All right, last one in Japan. Japan is officially the country of no. Here's what you're not allowed to do. Okay. How about that? The word no.
What is it?
Like I said, it's the official time. Here's what you're not allowed to do. So pretty much, they say you're not. There are no art restrictions. They're reflected deeply mindful of culture. That's all they're saying. They've mastered the art of order, respect, and quiet harmony. That's all. The word no. It's a pretty simple analogy that they try to respect everybody out there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. All right. So
I can get on board with that too.
Well, there you go. That's our little trip around Japan is really what it is. So, all right, now here's a pretty interesting one here, Steve. Get this. A man chooses 11 years in prison over giving up the location of $50 million in gold from a shipwreck where he hid historic gold recovered from a famous 1857 shipwreck. He's taking 11 years.
Okay. You broke up a little bit there. He took 11 years in prison rather than give up what?
The $50 million that he had because he knows where it's at.
Oh, I did read about that. Yes. You know what?
What?
He can get a lot of interest in $50 million in 11 years.
Yeah, he's going to hide the money bad enough. That's one way to do it.
That's right. If he hides it good enough, it's collecting interest for him. And 11 years, that'll pay for that time in jail.
Yeah, I saw it. I had no choice. I mean,
I did read that. Yes, I didn't realize it was 11 years. I knew he was going to go to jail for that.
Oh, did you?
I'm like, yeah, he didn't want to give up $50 million. So,
well, I mean, when he gets out, he knows where it's at. He's going to get it anyway. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to find it. I mean, I guess there's no such thing as double jeopardy, right?
Nope, because once he gets out,
Yeah, exactly. Once he gets out, he's out. All right, so you know what? We're going to go ahead and travel to Russia now. How do you like that? Hey, Renee, how you doing? You're fabulous. So are you, Renee. Thanks for popping in.
Hello, Renee.
So we went from Japan, and we're going to Russia. Oh, my goodness. It's in the news for a lot of the right reasons and some of the wrong reasons, but here's some for the right reasons. Ready? You ready to go to Russia with us, Renee? We're going to Russia, you and I and Steve, okay? And Candy is our producer. Okay, Russian people celebrate New Year twice a year. Forget about the Rose Bowl, okay? Russian people still use ice swimming as a tradition of good health. So how about that? You got New Year, you have what? Ice swimming, right? Gosh, I can't even imagine that, right?
Nope, I can't imagine that one.
Ice swimming? Oh my God, that's a seriously one? Okay. In Russia, bears have been spotted roaming gas stations.
I've seen some of the videos on social media about bears in Russia, and it's like, man, they have some big ones over there. And going to, would you say a gas station?
Yeah.
I wonder what they want at a gas station. Who knows? Who knows what bears are thinking?
Well, if they're thirsty for gasoline, they're gonna. Never mind. You don't need. I have to finish this. That's so bad. So, how do you think we're bringing that up on a show here, a national show about bears at gas stations? What have I been drinking today? Well, a lot of Mountain Dew. Now that you asked, okay, or you didn't ask, okay. Let's keep the narrative going in Russia, okay. Russian people once banned emo clothing in schools. I don't even know what emo clothing is in schools. Do you?
I don't know what that is either.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We'll move past. Russian people use black bread as a cure for hangovers. Well, I don't get a hangover, so I wouldn't know. What do you think about black bread? Do you ever have it?
I have had black bread, and I didn't know it was a cure for hangover, but I mean, apparently alcoholism is a big problem in Russia, so they would know their hangovers, But
you want to know something that'll cure hangovers, Steve? go to Popeye's Fried Chicken after you've had a few hurricanes out in New Orleans, and that'll do it. I'll tell you one thing. That happened to me before back in the 80s.
Popeye's fried chicken cures a lot of stuff.
Doesn't it? I'll tell you, but it's way worse in New Orleans than it is anywhere else. I mean, you talk about Cajun stuff. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. But we'll go ahead with the black bread theme for the sake of Russia. In Russia, bears were once trained.
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard that. They like black bread really slathered thick with butter, and they would know their hangover stuff, right?
Okay, this is really far-fetched. Can you believe that? Okay, here we go. In Russia, bears were once trained to serve drinks in circuses. Drinks in circuses.
That's pretty cool,
isn't it?
I don't know if I want a bear bringing me a Jack Daniels on the rocks, but hey, you never know. He might take a sip himself.
Well, I'm with you there. I don't know, but what happens if a bear slips involved? Who are they going to contact for an attorney? Anybody know that out there? Yeah, all of a sudden this is becoming comedic when you talk about Russia. Of course, they're not throwing me in the slammer. Okay, there are other places. I hope they don't. In Russia, there's a museum dedicated entirely to vodka.
I believe that. They like their vodka over there.
Okay, and there you have it. You learn anything about Russia?
Yep, always learn something here every Wednesday night.
You know it, man. Great stuff, I'm telling you. Okay, well, here's one that'll be right up your alley. Okay, and well, actually, you know what? I got a better. Let's see, where do I want to go with this stuff here? All right, well, let's talk about this one. Texas law requires drunk drivers to pay child support if they kill a child's parent or guardian. The payments are intended to support the surviving child until age 18 or high school graduation.
I did not know that, but I like that rule.
You do?
I like that rule. Good for Texas. I never heard of that, but I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think it's a good one too.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question you got to go ahead with that one. I really do. I mean, with all due respect, when you go out there and take a life, somebody's going to have to pay for it. We might as well get them to pay for it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and again, I mean, it's only fair.
I think so. All right. Well, you know what? I'm wearing an Army shirt for a reason, people. And you know why? Because of this next topic. Okay. Steve served in the military. Okay. So this topic was specifically chosen for SB. Army is getting $170 million in stadium upgrades at one of the most iconic venues in the sport. They're doing it without losing what makes Michie Stadium special. The 100-year-old East stands are being replaced by a new 160,000 square foot build that brings premium seating suites and a glass-walled club to the banks of the Hudson. So let's go ahead to it, okay? The project, as I said before, replaces a 100-year-old East stands with a 160,000 square foot build. It's opening this year in 2026. The new East stands adds 2,000 premium seats, 18 suites, load boxes, and a glass-walled club. The upgrade gives Army a modern stadium while keeping the tradition of an iconic views of Michie Stadium. Once complete, the new East Side will bring Michie Stadium capacity to 36,000 fans, which is nowadays normal for college anyway. And that's it. So what are your thoughts about
I like that. It is an iconic place. And it's beautiful on the banks of the Hudson, you have the bluffs and everything overlooking the river. It's such a beautiful campus and football stadium, and good for Army, bringing in some loge seating and luxury boxes. Anything to help draw some attendance in there. I know the Army always draws well. I mean, because the military academy or whatever, but I like it. Good for them. And again, I wasn't aware of that. But you know, I know they have the Army Navy game
Right.
at neutral field every year.
Right.
I think every year they should switch it. Right. Have the Army Navy game one year in Annapolis. The next year have it in Michie Stadium. Right. I just think that would just set the tone. And I know that like Michie Stadium only holds 36,000. Right. They just said that, but. And I know that they draw a lot more than that, when they have the Army Navy game. But I would really like to see each team actually have a home game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rivalry is always been there, and it's tremendous. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, the stadiums, they want 60, 70,000, and you can pack a lot of cadets and you can pack a lot of midshipmen.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, when the cadets all march in there, I mean, there's so many of them, right?
But you know what? I'm glad that they're taking care of that. One unfortunate note that occurred yesterday, though, is ICE arrests a newlywed wife of a U.S. Army soldier at military base where he is stationed just days after the couple married, Steve. Oh, gosh, that's what ICE is doing, but ouch.
Yeah, that's rough. I mean, I just assume that she's in the country illegally, and but she shouldn't be anymore because now she's married to this guy.
Right.
I don't know, unless she was some kind of criminal element prior to her marrying this guy. I don't know. I would have to see I would have to see the complete story on her, but that's rough. Arresting a newlywed.
Yeah, I struggle with this one a little bit. I understand ICE has a job to do. I'm not one to question it by any stretch of the imagination, but this one's a little tough for me to swallow. But one thing that isn't tough to swallow, if you're looking for a bucket list item to do and you're looking to see baseball, I was actually there about a year or two ago, and I've been there a couple of times. I'll give you some 9 surprising facts about the Sky Dome you'll actually want to read, or in our situation, you can replay the show if you want to and take a few notes, although a lot of it's pretty basic. You ever been to the Sky Dome, Steve?
No, I have not. That's one of the places I would like to go.
Didn't I tell you the show could cost you money and that might be one of the places to go?
Yes, you did.
I've been very consistent. Okay, well, here's what we do. All right. So the Sky Dome was the first stadium to attract 4 million fans in a season, an achievement accomplished in 1991. Of course, when the Blue Jays are winning World Series back in the 90s, it doesn't hurt. But
was that the Joe Carter years?
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
But they put 4,000, 4 million. What was that?
4 million. Yeah, that's
4 million people in that place. My God, that's a lot. Okay, now, once upon a time, we talked about McDonald's. We're going to talk about them again. There used to be a McDonald's in the Sky Dome, and at one point was the largest McDonald's in Canada. It was located inside the stadium and used as a concessionaire until it closed in the 1990s. We talked about McDonald's in Iceland, people, and now we're talking about it in Canada. Yes, what do you think? No McDonald's?
The biggest McDonald's in the world in the Sky Dome, huh?
Yeah.
I can see that, though. If you're at a ball game, right, you want to, because you know kind of what you're going to get, right, when you go to McDonald's. There's no mystery there. So if you want a burger and some fries and go back and sit at your seat, why not?
Yeah, well, no McDonald's.
But not from Iceland, though. No. I mean, we talked about that last week. I just don't picture McDonald's in Iceland, and I don't want to see one there either.
Well, no, that's okay, but now you don't have one in the Sky Dome, people. In Canada.
I know. Why? I wonder why they took it out.
I don't know. They didn't say, but they just took it out. All right. So now the Sky Dome has hosted regular season games for 5 of the 6 major professional leagues in North America. All right, this is a pretty interesting one, people. You got MLB, okay, and then you have MLS, you have the CFL. Well, everybody knows they'd hope one there. The NFL, just probably the Buffalo Bills. The NBA, but guess what? Not in the NHL. They never played one there. I like that. 5 major sports, but not one in the NHL. Of course, back then I don't know if they had an outdoor game. Not that they couldn't, if they wanted to, but no, or heritage game, whatever they play out there. How do you like that?
Where's that?
This is in the Skydome. Has hosted 6 regular season games for
Yep.
5 of the 6 major professional sports leagues.
They haven't had. I'm surprised they haven't had a. When they talk about those winter classics.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's where I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done one in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't even know what
I mean, their original 6 team. That's kind of a shock to me. I would have thought they would have been one of the first teams to have it.
Yeah, me too. I guess that's a kind of made it really, really interesting. But again, the Maple Leafs played an outdoor game over at Michigan Stadium, but they never played one there. Yeah, but I'm surprised that they.
I love those outdoor games every year. I mean, it reminds you of growing up and playing on the lakes and ponds up north, and and I'm sure that's how a lot of these players first started playing hockey, right?
Yeah.
Before they started playing in leagues and whatnot.
Yeah, no, that one kind of shocked me a little too, but it is what it is.
I'm really surprised Toronto hasn't had a Winter Classic game.
Yeah, me too. So what do you think so far, Steve? You learning a little bit tonight?
It's always a pleasure, my friend.
That's it. We got a few more to go here, and here's where we're going to go next. Florida is making it official. Welcome to the new President Donald J. Trump International Airport, right in the heart of Palm Beach, a.k.a. Palm Beach International Airport. Well, of course, he spends a lot of his time in Mar-a-Lago and is in Florida. So would that surprise you at all? Steve? Yeah, he froze every time.
You broke up there, bro.
Every time people talk about Donald Trump, they freeze. Okay, Steve. Just kidding with you. Oh, sorry, Chris, but no USFL because of you way back in the day. So here, let's go back to where it is. Florida is making it official. Welcome to the new President Donald J. Trump International Airport, right in the heart of Palm Beach International Airport. Some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's where he flies in and out of anyway, right? So
right, he goes there all the time.
Because his Mar-a-Lago is, right there in West Palm. So, yeah, it makes sense. Why not?
Yeah, Candy. Yeah, well, you're in Palm Beach. Why don't you chime in real quick about the idea of Donald Trump obviously having an airport out that way?
Most presidents want libraries. Trump wants an airport. Hey, what can we say? He lives fairly close to this airport. I get it. I mean, a lot of people want streets named after him. He wants an airport. He's been president for a while, so go ahead.
More people will go to his airport than will go to his library.
This is true. And my only question would be, most stadiums sell their naming rights. So does the airport, did they sell the naming rights of the airport so it's the Donald Trump airport? I'm just saying, we could make some money there.
The art of a deal.
Exactly.
That's our beloved president, people. Donald Trump International. And hey, listen, if that's what they're going to do, and he obviously spends a lot of time there, he does, but what can you say? It is what it is. So I think that change is going to be starting relatively soon. I think probably sometime in July. I don't know. Of course, the way things are going this year, everything is pretty fast to begin with. So, yeah, I don't know. Hey, more power to him. There's not a whole lot I can say about that. The guy travels in and out of the place, so.
Yeah.
I'm not going to really sit here and sweat bricks over that one by any stretch of the imagination. But what I am going to talk about is the Lou Holtz coaching tree, because this one here is a pretty impressive one indeed. And that Lou Holtz coaching tree consists of Pete Carroll, Bob Davie, Barry Alvarez, Monty Kiffin, Walt Michaels, Skip Holtz, Charlie Strong, Barry Alvarez, Houston Nutt, Urban Meyer, and Lou Holtz himself. What are your thoughts about that coaching tree?
That's a pretty impressive coaching tree right there. I never had the pleasure of meeting Lou Holtz, but he's one of those iconic guys that I wish that I had.
Yeah, I actually met him once at the Orange Bowl. And if you have an Orange Bowl with Lou Holtz and Bobby Bowden, oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that to me is really surreal. It just is. And Lou Holtz, rest in peace. And I talked to him once, one of the most candid, nice, likable guys you'll ever see. Well, the show is moving along so quick, Candy. We're going to let you go ahead and do a station break early. And we have 3 more topics, and we're going to get ready for the Sports Exchange at the top of the hour. Go ahead, Candace.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has changed. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of other great content, so go check it out. If you'd like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise, sponsor a show, or be a guest on a show, just email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And last but not least, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just click it, like us, share us with all your friends and family, and turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. Monday is baseball night. Tuesday night is football. Wednesday nights is the show with Steve and Scott. And following this is the Sports Exchange. Tomorrow night, Thursday, Sports Wrap. It's either soccer or hockey. It just depends. And then come on over to what Scott calls the Country Club. My show, 9:30 Thursday night. Don't miss any of our great programming. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Back to you, Scott.
All right, thank you, Candy. Let's talk about Vice President Mike Pence for just a moment, because he actually praised the Iran attack mainly because of Donald Trump's decisiveness. Do you agree with that assertion, Steve?
Yes. Look, say what you will. I mean, and we've talked about this, in the past. I keep hearing we're not at war with Iran. Well, Iran has been at war with us since 1979.
Right.
And, every presidential administration since then, they've kicked the can down the road.
Right.
And it got to the point where, action needed to be taken before it reached a point where things would have been a lot worse.
Right.
And there was a fascinating piece in the New York Times today about how I think the title was how Trump brought the war against Iran and whatever. I'm paraphrasing here, but fascinating look at how everything came to be. And, he was talking with Bibi Netanyahu, who I've met a couple of times.
Right.
Netanyahu gave the spiel that the Israelis believed, and then Trump met with his advisors, and they made a decision, and they went with it, and it needed to be done. So I think the fact that he made the decision to go with it, I think, in the long run, he will be proven right in this. I know right now everyone is up in arms about it. No one wanted it. No one ever wants a war. Who wants a war? No one wants a war.
Right.
But sometimes they're necessary.
Right.
And there's no good ones, but
Mm-hmm.
they're necessary. And this was a necessary one.
Couldn't agree more. Again, we talk about the Iran hostage crisis. You can tell that was almost the beginning of what would ultimately become anticlimactic here. So, hey, more power to the president. And I give the former vice president credit for at least acknowledging that his former boss was made a decision and praise his boss's decisiveness for sure. Two more topics I want to get to, and then you can get back to the heating pad if you choose to do so, because you probably need it.
Yeah.
If I were in your predicament, I'd probably need it too, although I probably need it in a lot of ways beyond that. But UNLV hired former Bengals Pro Bowl linebacker Vontaze Burfict as a defensive analyst. The 34-year-old played an NFL season. What are your thoughts about the hire?
Well, I mean, look, I wasn't a fan of his as a player, but because I thought he played over the line quite a bit.
Right.
But hey, who knows? He might be a great coach. There's a lot of players in all sports that sometimes play over that line that end up being good coaches. I know you'll recognize this one name. I met years ago Dave Schultz.
Oh, yeah.
Like Philadelphia Flyers.
Wow.
And he was coaching a team in the East Coast Hockey League from Florida, as a matter of fact. And, it's different once you hang it up and you become part of the coaching tree. Right. And I remember watching Schultz's team. I thought they were very well coached. So, we'll see. Perfect. I mean, everyone's entitled to a shot. And again, I mean, he might be a great coach. We'll have to see. Well, I'll save my thoughts on how this will work out until we see it in person. But good luck to him. I wish him all the best in that.
So what was Dave Schultz like? Was he a pretty nice guy when you spoke to him?
Yes, he was. He was actually hilarious. Because
Really?
once he found out I was from Boston, because I was talking to him, and then he went, Boston, right?
Right.
And but he was so funny because he was talking about his time in the league, and and it was, I mean, as a big time hockey fan, I mean, he was one of those guys. And look, those guys' jobs, the tough guy role and whatever, that is a really tough job. I mean, because you have to go out there every night, whether you're beat up or not, you have to protect your players. And that's their role. And it's a really tough role to take. And Schultz reveled in his role, right? I mean, he was he was a really tough customer, and he could play too. I mean, but that came secondary to what he had to do on the ice. I remember one year, I think he scored 20 or 25 goals. So.
Did he really score that many goals for all the fight? I mean, hey, listen, I kid you not. The Broad Street Bullies were fun to watch. They really were. And when the Red Wings were losing so bad, both the Red Wings and the Flyers had the most amount of penalties, so you always knew that if the Red Wings were going to lose, at least it was going to be fun to watch. What's that?
They have Bobby Probert, man.
No, that was before him. Not during the Broad Street Bullies there, but
I mean, the Broad Street Bullies. I mean, that was, but as tough as they were such a disciplined team on the ice. I know it doesn't sound right, because they took so many penalties and whatnot, but their play on the ice was so disciplined, and that's why they won a couple of Stanley Cups. Came close to winning a couple of others too. I mean, that was a really, and plus they had Bernie Perron, who's at that time was unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know who the Red Wings did have? They had Brian Bugsy Watson.
Bugsy Watson, yeah.
Yeah, Bugsy. Him and what's his name? Schultz got into it quite a bit. So it was pretty fun to watch. I was a little fun.
Yeah, I remember Bugsy Watson and Terry O'Reilly of the Bruins having some goes back in the day. Because there was no holding on in those days. They were throwing haymakers, you know what I mean? And it was a different league back then.
Oh God, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, why do you think the Broad Street Bullies ran the Russians off the ice? Oh, I get it.
The Russians didn't want no part of that.
They walked right off the ice, and so they were threatened they were going to get paid. Then they got back on the ice, and they took their poison.
The Flyers.
Either you don't pay them, or they're going to leave. Well, we need our money after all. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, and again, I mean, look, I wasn't a Flyers fan because I was a Bruins fan, right? But I always respected Philly because of the way that, their style of play. But when they ran the Russians off the ice, man, I wanted to go out and buy a Flyers jersey.
Well, me too. Hey, if you weren't a Flyers fan that day when they had that conflict tonight, you were a Flyers fan, man. You were an American.
I wanted to go buy a Flyers jersey right there, Dave Schultz jersey.
Well, you know what I ended up doing when I actually went to a 76ers game against Michael Jordan during halftime? I bought a couple of those VHS tapes called Conflict of Ice. What good are they now, though? Now that they have all these different stuff, and I can't use those VCRs, but man, I watched it a few times. Well, you have YouTube if you really want to watch it, as long as you get the whole game. You don't know how you can do it. Of course, well, these TVs, it is what it is. All right, well, our final topic takes us to Singapore. We've been everywhere, people, but guess what? This is another sportsy, folks. We did a couple of sportsy tonight. And knowing you'll never hear many other place at this one. Singapore sent just one athlete to the 2026 Winter Olympics. Alpine skier Fayez Basha. He placed actually 35th in the men's slalom. Singapore has never medaled in the Winter Olympics. But at least Fayez got to be a man by himself in his country for little old Singapore.
Good for him. And look, I mean, if you ever seen pictures of Singapore, one, they don't have any ice there, right, or snow, right, and they don't have any mountains to to ski down. So I don't know where this guy trained at, but good for him. You know what? And the Olympic dream lived on. Who cares if he placed 35th? He was representing his country in the Olympics in a sport that they don't practice. And I love it. I always love these stories like that. Do you remember that guy from England that got into ski jumping in the Olympics a long time ago? I think they called him Eddie the Eagle. And I think he finished dead last. But he was just like a regular dude, said, I want to be a ski jumper. And he represented England in the Olympics and, in ski jumping. And he was like the crowd favorite, even though he finished last.
Hey, Fayez got to be the flag bearer. He got to do it all for Singapore. Hats off to Singapore. Candy, give me your thoughts about this one here. You're a big Olympics person. This guy was all by himself, 35th out there. I know you like the Olympics. Let's talk about Fayez for a moment. You don't have to do any research. Here's a guy gets to rep his country all by his lonely self.
Who wouldn't want to be on the Olympics and represent your country? I mean, that to me, that is, if you're a sports person, it's one of the greatest things you can do because it's an honor to represent your country. And it's something that I take pride in. I mean, obviously, I never did it, but I can imagine the pride that you would feel representing your country in the sport and doing something that you love.
There you go.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Hey, you know what? More power to you, Basha or Fayez Basha. I don't think you'll have to worry about duplicating that name in the United States, but the guy finished 31st. He got to represent Singapore. And for all the other athletes that we met, we'll talk about something different tonight, Steve. We talk about Louisville Kings, right? Think about that. Not too bad, right? Then we have Fayez Basha. And, of course, we have our friend Ricky Wassenaar, I think. I don't know what to think of that one, but he said he was trying to
Always
do
great stuff, man. Always great stuff.
Yeah, it is fun. Well, I hope you have a pretty good recovery, Steve. You have over the weekend. We'll give you. Hopefully, you can make it to the Inside the Pigskin on Tuesday night because we have a Billy Big Rack show on there. We're going to have a soundbite from Adam Randall on there, Reuben Bain Jr. Since I was able to get him as well. I'm trying to think of who else I'm going to have on there as well. But this will be a good draft show. Let's see. We're going to have. Oh, I know Cole Payton, another soundbite from him. So, meanwhile, Steve. I know you had to tough this one through. I want to thank you for doing this again. And I promise we'll come up with some more interesting stuff the next time. But when you get better, punch your ticket over to the Sky Dome and check out the Blue Jays out there because that's a heck of a place. I call it the Sky Dome. They call it the Rogers Center. Nevertheless, it's still a heck of a place. So for all you baseball fans out there looking for a cool place by the CN Tower, go out there and check it out. So meanwhile, that does it for this edition of the Motor City Man Mouth. We'll have some new wrinkles in the next couple of weeks or so as we continue to move on. We'll bring in guests from time to time as well. But right now, there's so many great pertinent topics out there. Steve and I wanted to go through them and try to get them all out there in the hour that we have, and that's pretty much all the time we have. So meanwhile, on behalf of my legendary partner, Steve Ballesteri, my name is Scott Morgan, off Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us. The Sports Exchange is at the top of the hour. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you in about 25 minutes or so. Good night, everybody.